From a compilation of articles by Rabbi Michael-ben-Pesach Portnaar. Physical intimacy. There's one eternal question that every man asks himself. We're talking about the covenant of the foreskin. It's a very delicate subject, so how does one interpret it in the spiritual context? Why do people need physical intimacy? So a person begins to ponder with his earthly mind all kinds of hypothetical ideas. For example, that is one of the forms of the Creator enjoys. This is that which is given for happiness. So if it is given for happiness, then this must happen. Also, this concerns the powers that are below the belt, which I discuss in Kabbalah for complete life management. This is still very unclear. Isn't it possible to love your partner spiritually and to enjoy this love so that the bond between the two of you grows so strong that it becomes impossible to feel the difference between your partner and yourself? We will focus on these questions and conclusions one by one. Covenant of the foreskin. In plain terms, this is a problem of every person, in the past, now, and up until Gmar Tikkun. As you cannot escape this, either you fight for the liberation of the flesh yourself, or you will have to walk towards your own perfection under the endless strikes of whip. The most unpenetrable fortress in the selfish desire to receive in the human nature is the area of the foreskin. However, the one that conquers this fortress will reach complete liberation, endless life, and perfection through the exact same area. This is why this question is the deepest and most painful. To stay in the filth of klipot and to force the higher powers to use the whip and suffering to lead you out of this garbage, or to climb up yourself, grabbing onto every little string by studying Lurian Kabbalah and its practical use in everyday life. Why were people given physical intimacy? This is where the problems and contradictions lie. How will this philosophical knowledge help you reach your complete state of perfection? Why were people given physical intimacy? And what relationship does it have with your soul, your true self? Absolutely none. All physical is taken completely from the system of the unholy power. This is why it does not have any relation to the soul of a person. Of course, you still need to consider it, the physical, and to pay very careful attention to it. However, the deciding person is still considered to be his internal part, his soul. You can have one husband in your life, 2, 10 temporary husbands or wives. However, the soul always stays as one. So a person had his physical intimacy with the first husband and then with the second husband, or with someone else during his vacation. What difference does it make? Is there any difference for the soul of that person? Even if you stay and maintain physical intimacy with one person, what does it do for your soul? Only problems, distractions, and more. So the person thinks logically and concludes the following out of the ideas brought to him by his earthly mind. This means it is one of the forms that the Creator enjoys, that which is given for happiness. And if it is given from the higher, then it must happen. Isn't it possible to love your partner spiritually and to enjoy his love so that the bond between the two of you grows so strong that it becomes impossible to feel the difference between your partner and yourself? In this, we can discern the naive group understanding of the mass, this physical intimacy that decided by the culture of time, rituals, religions, religious understanding, etc., meaning the full material and animal understanding. I will explain, even though for me it is very hard to find the right words, as this is a very, very delicate subject. As was said by Yeshua, the one that has ears will hear. In other words, you cannot explain this using words. This requires a certain level of comprehension, which is reached through hard spiritual labor. Not through words, but through the achievements reached over the years of study of Kabbalah and its practical use. One can create ears in order to hear the secret of how to work with area of the foreskin, as only through liberation of this area it is possible to reach the complete liberation. However, I will still try to present a certain overall picture to help one ponder and work on oneself. Only by carefully digging through my words inside of yourself while looking for the only truth instead of the made-up fairy tales, fantasies, spiritually infantile representations about the joys of physical intimacy, only then, through the pain of understanding the truth, you will begin to steadily move towards your own unique purpose of creation. Now look at what the people say. This means it is one of the forms that the Creator enjoys, that which is given for happiness. This is a very wrong assumption, one of which many false conclusions and considerations are derived. Physical intimacy has absolutely no relation to the true pleasure of the Creator that pleases us. There is a covenant in the Torah. Be fertile and grow big, meaning take the power of the creation inside of yourself. However, the ignoramuses of the spiritual translate this as be fruitful and multiply. Despite this, we were never given a covenant that said, pleasure your partner with physical intimacy, meaning with sex, no matter the kavanah. The intention in this is always the same, the animal desire, based on the principle, I will scratch your back and you will scratch my back. So the people add, it is possible to love your partner spiritually and to enjoy this love, so that the bond between the two of you grows so strong that it becomes impossible to feel the difference between your partner and yourself. These are the same fantasies and childish group representations of the spiritually undeveloped consciousness. Tell me, who on earth is in the state to love his partner spiritually and to enjoy this love so, also spiritually? No, there never was and never will be such a person, ever. No saint, no righteous man is capable of this, and what can you say about the people of the world that are buried head to toe in their earthly dealings? So this fact that people naively believe that they can reach the state to love their partner spiritually is pure comedy. Even if you have the most good intentions. As it is well understood that a person is born as a desire to only receive. All of us are the product of the shattering of the kelim and the soul of Adam. So how can you possibly wrap your head around the idea that we can reach the state to love your partner spiritually? By having sex with him or her. Our physical nature is completely animal, and it will remain the same in any case until the collective Gmar Tikkun. This is why any and all forms of physical intimacy is the animal intention, desire, and action that is inside of the human. It is, of course, necessary because without it, there would be no children. To say it differently, the only truth is in the fact that physical intimacy is required to a person only in order to procreate. Of course, if he wishes to do so. However, there is absolutely no spiritual love for your partner in this 100% animal act. So when a person, equally man or a woman, wants to accomplish the covenant of the Creator and to give a chance of creation of the new fruit, then they could theoretically have the right spiritual covenant and the fact that they have use, physical intimacy, is the necessary condition to accomplish this covenant. However, The problem is that even with this covenant, a person does not have the power to complete this covenant lishma, for the Creator, only for his covenant. This is why, in the distant past, souls were bright, light, and close to the Creator. However, very far from us based on the level of understanding of the light, of the Creator, and the completion. Meaning, their corrections were light. Corrections of the light kilim that are above the belt. This is why they were more or less capable of doing that. We, on the other hand, the generation of the arrival of the Mashiach, correct the hard to correct area, under the belt, including the last, the heaviest correction, the area of the foreskin. Thus, the name foreskin, as the flesh ends with it the correction of the flesh ends, desire to only receive. That this bond, pleasure, between the two of you grows so strong that it becomes impossible to feel the difference between your partner and yourself. Again, this is the problem, that by practicing physical intimacy, sex, that you do not feel the difference between yourself and the other. What can you do? It is important to learn not to feel the difference only between yourself and the Creator, or between yourself and the power of Yeshua that is in you, which is the same thing. Then you will learn to hear. You will develop ears in order to hear the truth. All other forms of not feeling the difference can bring only death. So choose life.